Hello, this is social media attorney Mark Fiedleholtz. Welcome to my short podcast on the hidden costs of superficial social media liability training and policies. 7 truths you must know. As a baseline for this podcast, you need to know that the U.S. Supreme Court and lower courts classify social media as a high risk broadcasting platform that causes severe and pervasive harassment, permanent reputational damage, invasion of privacy, infliction of emotional distress, workplace violence, and other serious harm. Federal law now requires more in depth social media employee training and policies. Unfortunately, too many public and private sector organizations ignore these recent court rulings and deliver superficial employee training and boilerplate policies because they view social media as a public relations or marketing topic. So, with this baseline, here's the 7 truths you must know. Truth number 1, you must have an experienced digital media attorney who specializes in social media law, train your employees, and write your social media policies. Social media has become a highly complex area that warrants the services of an experienced social media attorney specialist. Truth number 2, you must stop thinking that your in-house attorney or local attorney is an expert in all legal areas. I commonly hear decision makers say, "We are covered, Mark. Don't worry about it. We don't need your expert training because we have an attorney." Like doctors, today's attorneys are specialists. For instance, being a digital media attorney doesn't qualify me to write real estate contracts. Truth number 3, the viral capacity and permanency of social media makes this harm different from other personal injuries. Your attorney can't repair the injury, and mitigating the harm is almost next to impossible. That's why you can't wait for a lawsuit before you seek help from a social media attorney to train your employees and write a social media policy. Truth number 4, never, and I mean never, have a non lawyer write a social media policy or train your employees on legal issues. As mentioned before, social media is a high liability and complex area. When your social media policy and training are tested in court, you leave yourself open to negligent training and policy drafting claims that can devastate your organization's finances and reputation. Also, you may unknowingly expose your non lawyer instructor to costly, unlicensed practice of law claims. In many states, this can be a criminal offense. Truth number 5, when you give employees verbal warnings or other superficial training, you give them a false impression that they are adequately trained, and they tend to ignore much needed expert social media liability training. Truth number 6, insurance does not substitute for specialized social media liability training and policy drafting. There's a loophole you must know with insurance. Courts rule most social media injuries as willful conduct. Insurance policies normally exclude willful conduct from coverage. So let me repeat that again. Courts rule most social media injuries as willful conduct. Insurance policies normally exclude willful conduct from coverage. And a lot of times people don't realize that until they get into court. All right. Truth number 7, many organizations have never had their social media training and policies tested in court. They have a false sense of security that their policy and training is rock solid. In litigation, smart and aggressive plaintiff attorneys prove that your social media training and policy does not comply with the new federal standards. The fallout is the loss of big legal fees, careers, reputation, and personal liability exposure for both the employer and employee who made the social media mistake in the first place. It's not a pretty scenario, but you can easily avoid all of this by recognizing that social media is a high risk broadcasting platform that warrants the services of an experienced social media attorney like me. I hope you found this podcast eye-opening and you make my expert social media liability training programs mandatory for all employees, and have me update your social media policy as soon as possible to make sure they comply with the new federal standards. You can find my contact information on my website and course flyers. So thank you for your time. This is the end of the podcast.